I read somewhere that you can't donate sperm if you're under 5'8".
That's bullshit.
Women just don't, because you can choose obviously you can choose the specs of a guy, right? From when you're at a sperm bank, and obviously women just automatically they just never choose anything but anyone below 5'8". So.
What they're just going to be going for the fucking 6'5" basketball player?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It is like super annoying how famous he is though, because I don't really like James Corden.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that witty. I wouldn't say he's particularly sharp. I don't think he's a real like killer. He came around at that time. He had that very average lad charm that everyone decided was like, oh hey, like we don't want Brad Pitts anymore, like we want someone more relatable. Here's James Corden. Corden.
I know what you mean. The thing is, like, I actually like him. I like, you know, I often, well, not often, sometimes watch the late show highlights on YouTube, just because if there's someone that I find interesting on the show, I think he does a really good job on that show. But yeah, you're
again,
right.
I think a lot of that is the content team, I'm sure, have a lot to do with that. You know?
Loads. But I sort of class him and Jack Whitehall as the sort of like Jack Whitehall. Once again,
you bring that name up here, and we're going to be talking about this for the whole podcast now.
He seems like a really nice guy, and he is funny. Don't get me wrong, but that type of humor is sort of, for me, I don't find it that funny. I find it really easy.
It's so
like,
easy.
you know, the person that sort of acts a bit camp and uses that as humor. I've never really found that funny. It's the same sort of humor as men dressing up as women. I've never found it funny. No. And like acting a bit pathetic. Yeah. But his stand-up stuff, I think he is naturally quite a witty person. I do think he is.
Yeah, I'd say, I definitely say he is. So, like, opposite to what I was talking about James Corden, I definitely would say that he's got wit. I'd say he definitely has wit, but everything that I've watched from his stand-up is always based around him being a posh boy and like him kind of taking the piss out of that. And like after a while, that gets a little bit old. And I'm kind of like, I think to be a good comedian, you kind of need to talk about a kind of a wide variety of subjects. Like you can't just have that niche forever. And I don't think because of that, I don't think he's particularly funny. I think he found that as his thing that made people laugh, and then I don't think he really like knows much more than that, to be honest.
No. It's a sort of,
that's kind of annoying.
For sure. It's where he'll do shit like where he's training with The Rock, and The Rock's like, just another 5, and he's like, and he can't even lift the weight, and he's like like that sort of stuff.
As you said, it's so
and he's
easy. It's like, it's slapstick kind of fucking.
And he'll be like, is it time for a break now? Just like anyone can do that. But for some reason, we allow him to do that without sort of just rinsing him for being like, hey man, that's the easiest type of humor. I don't know why I don't find that funny, but yeah, but then I have seen like stand-up shows where he's done some really funny stuff. I just think
I haven't seen that stuff, but okay,
I have seen it. I think most of his stuff I don't find that funny, which is that like British, like, oh God, like, or he's like, Daddy, no. Like, have you seen that thing where he travels with his dad? He's like, Daddy, do not do that. No, listen, I cannot stand it. I feel like that is a bang on Jack Whitehall impression.
It is really
and
good.
I feel like it's easy to do as well. I honestly feel like anyone could do it. But
also,
I have found him funny in stand-up, so I just wish he'd do more of that stuff. But anyway,
yeah. No, I was just gonna say, guys calling their dad daddy,
absolutely
not okay.
That's a bother, dude. that is the biggest sign that you went to private school.
Yeah.
That there is. The biggest sign that you went to private school and that you're loaded.
Or
Daddy,
you were molested at a young age.
Yeah, true. And opposite ends of the spectrum. One of them you wish never happened. Yeah. The other one everyone wishes was everyone wishes that they fucking went to private school and
Do they?
were rich.
I don't.
Dude, honestly, private school education, you'd be a beast. You'd be a beast.
Yeah, but I think I agree, but I have thought about this a lot. And I think that I also credit a lot to the sort of state school that I went to in terms of teaching me a lot about culture and diversity and things like that. And I don't think, although I'm sure you know there is a lot of cultures nowadays going to private schools, I just think that kind of like raw life experience that you got from hanging around with such a I'm not talking about just cultural diversity, but just diversity of like having boffin smart kids, but then also having people from a much like different background than you. Some people, some kids much less privileged and things like that. And like, just getting that whole spectrum, I think makes you a more well-rounded person for sure.
I fully agree. Yeah, I think in terms of socializing and just being sort of more like people who went to private school and have grown up with shitloads of money, I feel like they are not the type of person who are going to understand the average person in the UK situation.
Is well-rounded, really.
No. But I also, you
kind of just summed up our politicians and the problem with our politicians.
Yeah, exactly, dude. That is it, right? Our politicians, like especially conservatives. Well, I think it's almost like you have to have gone to private school and gone to like, the top universities to become a conservative politician. Yeah. And it's like,
dude, it's not even conservative, it's just politics in general. It's a really, it is a really, I won't lie, although we shit on politicians all the time, it is a really, really difficult subject, and it's something that you really have to learn a lot. And unfortunately, to be in that position to learn something like that, you have to kind of, as you said, you have to come from quite a privileged background in the first place, because the kind of places to get the best education in politics would be to go to like private school, for example, or one of those schools,
which makes sense.
Cool gatekeeping,
but that does make sense. Like the better educated need to be able to the people running the country need to be best educated, right? But when it comes down to thinking about the general public, terrible idea. Like that, they have nothing. Being called. They have nothing. Well, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that would be the healthiest environment to be in when you've got to grow up and then think about people who have no money, No,
100%. So, and that kind of I mean, the whole, £30 food budget thing that's been in the news recently is kind of a perfect example of that.
Is that Rashford? Is that Marcus Rashford?
So in terms of the timeline, is they wanted to eliminate free school meals, because they're idiots, basically. They don't really give a crap about people. Marcus Rashford campaigned and basically talked about the importance of those free school meals to him and his kind of cohorts at the time. And then they basically went on they kind of did a middle ground where it's like, I think, I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what they've now agreed is that they're not going to package the school meals themselves. They're just going to give like an allowance or something. But then obviously because of the pandemic, they are sending food out, and they've said it's £30 worth of food, and then it's arrived, it's like a few carrots, bananas, and then a few slices of ham and some bread and stuff. And it's just, people have compared that to I've just been to Tesco and done £30 shopping and got 10 times as much, basically. And there's a real disconnect of what they sort of, I think people eat and want to eat, and it's just not. It's
terrible. I really do think we need to change the way that the way that countries are run. I really do. I really don't think the current system is working. So let's mix it up.
I honestly agree with that. I think it's a good system, but I don't think it's the perfect system. I don't know what the perfect system is. I just think it's out there. I think there is a better system out there for sure.
Going back to the sort of raw posh boy Jack Whitehall, Daddy, no, you can't. I'm not touching that, right? That accent, right? I feel like nowadays is a disadvantage you are disadvantaged to have that accent because no one takes you seriously.
Social suicide if you have that. If you go into a group of people and start talking.
Dude, if it's very rare that I come across someone where it's like seriously raw. Right, really, really like, It's rare, okay? You can be well spoken, but you don't have to be like that. And when I do come across that person, I kind of laugh.
Yeah,
like, sorry, I can't take you serious because you're not real. Like your life is just ridiculous. Like I know that you haven't had to face anything negative in your life, and also it's just I know where you've come from, and I don't know. It just makes me laugh, and I feel like. You sound silly when you have like absolutely
I feel like you definitely don't get it as much anymore, but
no, you don't.
But I 100% agree. As soon as that person opens their mouth, I know. I look at them and I'm not going to relate to you. You're not going to relate to me. Like, let's just end this here. I don't think we can offer each other anything at this point. I know that's such a closed-minded way to look at it, but you're right. It's 100% true. It's just like I know that you've not really. Struggled for not to say that like I particularly struggled for anything, but like you haven't not struggled on a whole different level basically.
The thing is, right, then going back full circle to the private school education, dude, private school education, secondary school,
okay,
dude, the confidence levels averagely from those kids is through the roof. And that is what gets them jobs. Bowl through to the interview. Yeah. How's it fucking going, pals? Let's work together. Honestly, they are like that. They are so confident. They are so sure of themselves. And although some people won't take to that very well, I think overall that is so much better to have than not to have. Someone that is very happy to talk in front of people. Dude, public speaking at private schools, forget about it. They're just smart. They're masters. They teach them the right things, I think, in terms of, or no, maybe they have they have more money. They have more time to sort of focus on individuals and, you have more one-to-one learning or maybe they just have
it's just a social
better
thing as well,
selection.
I think, yeah.
Dude, they are so confident. And also, although that could come across as arrogant, that confidence, if it isn't arrogant, they're like very bubbly and like polite and it's like you can tell when someone's been privately school educated.
But when someone is like that and they're polite, though, no matter how nice they are, I just always assume that it's fake. Like you're being fake to me right now. When they're like that, we're like, oh, sweetie, please, like super polite and posh about it. It's just like, oh, shut up. Like you're not really like you secretly go home and like talk about how minorities need to be shut out of the country and stuff. You know what I mean? Like you're not that nice to anyone.
Rightly so.
But I mean, I might be wrong. They probably are really nice, but just that's the impression I get every time. But
I know.
I think there are definitely. I think obviously if you're in that network anyway, you're probably going to be given a lot more opportunities just from coming from those schools. But I definitely think that I won't discredit it as well, and I think it is a skill to have that kind of confidence,
brazen confidence.
Yeah,
man.
Absolutely. And I think I was watching. They did like a behind an anonymous interview with a banker on one of those fucking Vice channels or whatever. Yeah. And he was like a banker between like the 90s and then up until the financial crisis in 2008. And dude, some of the stories from these kind of guys, he was like, all private educated, and then you go, and he was like, to be honest, I wasn't really good at anything when I was younger. Like I just had, like he admitted, he was just open about it. I could just literally talk someone's ear off. I could, I had the gift of the gab, dude. And that's how I got it. And he was on like a 6-figure salary with 6-figure bonuses. And he was saying like some of the and so many interesting stories. And he was like, we would you'd meet up and we'd go to like, there'd be 50 dudes in one room and there'd be like two people having sex in the middle of the room and everyone would just be sitting there doing coke and jacking it. And these are all the people that are in control of your money and stuff like that. And
dude,
I mean, that's like another tandent, but
dude,
like
that's power, man.
Yeah.
That is literally that's so crazy. I on a similar note, I watched a bit of Jordan Belfort, the guy who, Wolf of Wall Street. He has his own podcast now. Like he's out of prison.
Like the real dude.
The real dude,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Not Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, not Leo. And he was basically talking, same thing. Like basically, if you can, at the end of the day, they're sort of salesmen, right?
100%.
And so to be a really good salesman, you got to be really good. You got to be good with people. You got to be confident. You got to know what you're talking about, or at least sound as though you know what you're talking about. And they made so much money, dude. They literally exactly that. They every day, like people having sex in the office became so normal that there were signs in certain areas of the office, just no sex here, no sex here. And
Oh my God.
drugs, sex, prostitutes all the time through the office. And
because I guess if this kind of thing, if the bosses and the CEOs are doing it, they can't really then be like tell other people not to do it, because then the people low down will tell, or like tell in the media or the news and stuff. So it's all just an in circle of.
But I think it was known by lots of people, but for some reason, people who are dealing with loads of money, who earn then loads of money, then feel like they're on top of the world, and it's just like, I don't know. But I guess if you knew that the person you were investing money with was fucking snorting cocaine off a hooker's ass, you're probably not going to do it. But dude, then at the same time, but they're just that good.
It makes me, dude, I think about that stuff all the time, because I think as just an average civilian, I think you always, obviously when you think about it, like we do know, but you always just assume that like people that have like serious jobs like that, like politicians and bankers and stuff like that, are so smart and almost just like, they're like different people to me, but you forget that they are just humans, and they're exactly like you and I, and they have their own faults and desires and stuff. And I just like to imagine some like old granny being like, I'm going to invest with Nationwide because they give me 9.4% APR, and then just go to the bank, and then like you just see like the like in Lord of War, like the opening scene where like it follows the bullet. Is it Lord of War with Nicolas Cage? It follows the bullet and like from production to being shot through the kid's head in African country. I can't remember which one it was. But I feel like that, and like the little granny just puts her money in the ATM and it follows it through, and then by the time it gets in the hand of a fucking banker, like jacking it on some hooker's face, like he uses it to snort coke. Basically, it's just we just should not put our faith in people like that. I don't think we need to change some of the systems. We do.
I don't know how they get away with doing that stuff. I also don't know how politicians get away with literally lying for a job. Like they lie, and it's the only job that when caught lying, which they often do, they don't get fired. If you got caught lying in any other job, like that, obviously, when dealing with quite important things, you're fired.
You're fired. There needs to be so much more accountability for that kind of stuff. People forget as well.
Like, dude, if they were held accountable, no one would do it. No one would lie. If they got fired because they were literally just a compulsive liar. Yeah. Okay, well, we can't do that anymore. Like that. But anyway,
like with the whole. I remember like years and years ago the university fees thing where, the Lib Dems were like, oh no, university fees are not going to change, and then obviously they went up by like what was it, by an extra $6,000 or something, and then it's like, oh, fired.
Fired.
Cool.
You're gone. Get rid. You're gone. Yeah, absolutely. But going back to you saying like those, talking about that type of job and that type of behaviour, like in my experience, the real academics, not all of them, but the real academic people that I've met are the fucking nuttiest ones, right? So when they've grown up from being typically the sort of nerdier type in school, and as I don't know what it is, whether it's like a level of like they start to rebel, and they got that power, they've got the money, they can now go out and have fun. Dude, they're nuts. When I went to a school I went to, it was full of really smart, fucking crazy people. All doing drugs. Like the smartest guy I knew at that school acid on the weekends. It's 16, man.
Really?
Acid. Yeah.
Wow.
Such a smart guy. But I honestly think sometimes that's part of, like, because they're so smart, it's like oh man, I've got to try this because it sounds great.
Next thing, right? Like they're not
just
content with what they've got.
They're interested in finding out what that shit's like. But anyway, yes, power brings all of that shit, man. When you got money, you got power. When you got power, man, who knows? Who knows what we'd be like?
A lot of it was to do with. I know that's the thing. You can't say that you'd be any different if you had a different sort of upbringing and you were into that situation. But again, just the last thing on that, in that interview, the guy was talking about how, I know a lot of it was partly to do with America, but there were obviously a lot of bank and stuff doing it over here. And, you know, I mean, there's also a very, very good film called The Big Short with like Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling and stuff, which basically goes into this whole situation. But like, you know, there are people that knew about that financial crisis that was imminent. And there were also those people in finance that and banking that would purposely make it worse. They were making it worse because they would make more money from it in the long run. So it's like they were basically accelerating and amplifying the damage that it was going to cause for a quick buck that they were going to make out of the whole situation. And it's just like, hey, those people shouldn't be in charge of things like that. Never. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's a lot more complicated than that, but definitely.
No, you're right though. There's just so much greed in it. There's so much greed, and it isn't right. I don't know. I don't really have too many. I don't want to say too much. I don't have too many thoughts on it, but it just doesn't seem like the healthiest way to. I don't know. It just seems like that whole industry seems like a mess. How you can make so much money, through other people's money, and it could go tits up. It could go really well. I don't know.
It feels like there definitely should be a more secure, better way of doing it, but I guess
for sure. Yeah, I know. I'd love I always think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy investing or like stocks and, you know, one of those little books for dummies, because I kind of just want to like just at least understand it so that in the future, who knows? Yeah. But I don't know, dude. You could, if you got, I don't know. Look, let's save it for another pod. Pod. How long has it already been?
About 22 minutes. 22, well, no, it's probably been about 20 or so, I'd say.
I suppose we've covered a wide array of topics.
Yeah. Maybe we talk for an extra 5 minutes about what kind of topics we've covered and what we should talk about in the future, just to eat up some more time.
Okay.
Did you want to talk about anything this week? How's your week going? Have we talked since last week? I think we have. Yeah, we have a little bit.
Yeah, we have. To be honest, what's happened this week? Oh, I've been getting to know my Apple Watch.
Ooh.
Right.
Bit of an extravagant purchase there. Looks very cool.
There we go, baby. Yeah. I've been trying to like really sort of know my devices, right? Like as soon as when I get a new device, like I want to know everything about it, right? Yeah. So I've been learning as much as I can about it to get the most use out of it, right? Dude, I went to bed last night. I normally don't sleep with it on, but I was like, you know what? It does track your heart, your BPM during sleep. I just kind of want to know what it was. What do you think my BPM was last night? Lowest point.
Well, you know, you actually texted me in the morning. You said that you thought you were you had the ambulance come to your house, right? Because it sends a ping like, when your heart rate gets too low. And you said to me that like it dropped down to about 2 beats per minute at one point, and then even flatlined for like 3 hours or something. And the medics came over and you were fine. Like, I just don't know, super weird.
Yeah, the strap came loose and it was reading the BPM of my mattress, so that's why that's why I went.
Why was your mattress beeping at 2 beats?
I don't know. Dude, I don't know. That's another question. Maybe aliens or something. But on a real, guess what my BPM was?
Your lowest point, I want to say like 65.
42, baby.
Okay, that's really low. That's interesting.
Dude. You know what it made me realise? Dude, I'm fucking built like a thoroughbred, baby. Man, I've got genes. Dude, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna quit all
it was beating less than once a second. It was like every
like
every second and a half, right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna quit all of this. I need to be a professional athlete. Like, come on, are you kidding me? At 42, 42, man. I woke up thinking, damn, man.
Yeah, if there was a sport should I just like lowest BPM when you're sleeping.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like, what it means at the end of the day, if your heart rate's low, you know, it means the healthier you are. You know, like I run a lot. You know, I do 5Ks. You know, and I wonder if it's. I'm sure there's a lot to. I'm sure it's got a lot to do with the fact that I run a lot.
Okay, man. Sure.
But who knows?
Like that,
who knows? Maybe it's just genes. Maybe it's just like I've just got those genes. You know, for just being a sportsman.
Well, which is it? Is it? Do you train a lot, or is it good genes?
Maybe we meet in the middle, but maybe we say both.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. On a serious, like it's just that I found that really interesting. I was like,
I wonder what mine would be.
I was like, that's cool. 42, not bad. You know, but it says if it goes below like 40, you'll get a notification to be like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, dude, I was 42 last night. That's fine. That
should
is
wake
fine.
you up and be like, hey man, we think you're dying.
We think you're dead. Am I? I don't fucking know. Dude, imagine you get that when you're half asleep. Hey, we think you're dying. We've called an ambulance. Oh shit! Like, you wouldn't know what the fuck is going on. But
okay, so you've sort of explained that you are trying to dive as much into it as possible. So how much was the watch?
Fuck, I don't know. Four something.
Okay, it's about 400 something squids. And it does what? Sorry, it tells the time just about.
Tells the time. That's a pretty cool function.
It measures your heart rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, if you're into fitness, as I am, because I have 42 BPM at night, it tracks your activity. So
right, okay.
So
your phone
for Strava,
does that as well. Yeah.
Your phone does that, but you don't always carry your phone with you. And to be honest, I don't always want to have my phone with me, but it tracks every step. So
do you find that you're carrying your phone around with you less?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it notifies me of like messages and stuff, so then I'll go to my phone.
Yeah.
But but no, it's good for calorie counting. It's perfect. You know exactly what you've done that day. And dude, if you've got a fitness goal, if you're trying to lose weight, dude, it's perfect. It's fucking perfect. It notifies you of emails, texts. You track your activity. You can speak to people on the phone.
That's cool, man. Yeah, you have a phone for that as well, dude.
Yeah, you do, man. And to be fair, it's a good point.
You should be like a little FBI agent just talking to your ears.
Yeah, dude. You know what? This makes me feel like I'm in Spy Kids. And I'm not even joking, man. I love that film as a kid.
You have a poster of Frankie Muniz on the right side of your camera.
I do. And also, I got the Spy Kids package one.
Oh, so that's cool, man.
It came with.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Agent Cody Banks was Frankie Muniz, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Which is equally as good as Spy to attain for.
Spy Kids was the girl and the sister and the brother, right? I can't remember their names.
And then Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, of course, absolute hunk. But yeah, and what this does, the 6, it also reads your blood oxygen levels, which another bragging moment, but mine was 100 last night. So
what does that mean, man?
So it means that I'm healthy, and it means that I could play in the dude. It means that I could play in the Premier League. It means that I could be in the Olympics next year. This year, if I wanted to. Yeah. It means that I could produce. You know, if the UK said, look, we need like thoroughbred kids, they could come to me, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll give you some great genes. That's basically what it's saying.
I read somewhere that you can't donate sperm if you're under 5'8".
That's
because
bullshit.
Women would just don't because you can choose obviously you can choose the specs of a guy, right? From when you're at a sperm bank, and obviously just women just automatically they just never choose anything but anyone below 5'8". So
what they're just going to be going for the fucking 6'5" basketball player.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I imagine
it's probably positives and negatives. So it's like, oh, dude, we found this guy. He's like 6'3", but he also has like a series, like his family suffers from like heart disease. But we've also got this dude that's 5'9", and he doesn't have any medical health problems. He might be a little bit of a decision to make there. But yeah,
I'm sorry, you're not having sex with the person. It doesn't like.
If it's the DNA, it's the genes.
I suppose so, but like that person's dad or granddad might have been tall. Who knows? Height is such a difficult. Unless you're like 6'9", you don't know that you're going to have.
It's true,
kids.
But you can look by people's parents. That it definitely does seem to have like an effect. I think. Especially as a guy and on your dad's side, I think it does definitely has an effect. Like I'm like the same height as my dad, or I'm maybe like very slightly taller than my dad. But
yeah, to be fair, I am as well, and my brothers are yeah,
exactly.
I think it does very have similar heights. Impact.
But also, it's
a good point
for those people that are. But then again, I guess I guess there's not really any love lost there, because I don't know any guys that are like desperate to donate it unless they're making money, right?
No,
I don't know why that'd be your call in life, just to be like, I just gotta spread the love, baby.
Dude, imagine that like donating to that sperm bank, and then literally like the ego you would have to have. Yeah, Mr. Carlson, you've had 50. You've been chosen 50 times by 50 different women today. Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, you get a bonus today. That would be bizarre. Imagine they let the guy know.
Oh my god! I think there's definitely. There's definitely a limit. I think on how much they give out, right? Because I think you endanger kind of overpopulating the pool with one guy's thing. So I think they have a limit as well on like how many times you can use one guy's.
Dude. That is bizarre. Juice. That is love juice, man. That is bizarre that they don't take under 5'8". That is discrimination.
It is, absolutely.
That is discrimination.
Yeah, but
that is not okay.
Most of the time, isn't it? I don't think it's.
I'm sorry, but imagine the poor guy going in there and he's 5'7". And he goes, "I'm here to donate some sperm," and then they're
sorry,
like,
mate,
"Sorry,
you get out of here, tiny fuck."
I bet your cock's tiny too. Just so. Horrible. Dude, imagine they okay, could you go and stand up against that the what are they called? The measuring, whatever it is. And honestly, because he looks like he's slightly on the shorter side, they go and measure him like, and then you're not 5'8". I'm afraid you can't. Surely they couldn't turn him down. They'd have to let him do the job and then
that goes in my personal file when they throw it in the bin. I remember, I had a teacher that made that joke all the time, and it's like, I can't remember what he called it, but he was like, "Oh, if you hand in that kind of work, it goes in my personal file," and then like he'd put it in the bin or something. Like he was making a joke that like his bin was like a filing cabinet or something. Shut up, dude, dork, man. Takes his fucking job way too seriously. For sure.
That's funny. Poor guys. That's not fair. And also women, like, I'm sure a lot of to be fair, girls if they're gonna have someone random guy's baby, they're gonna want it to be. They want it to be.
Yeah, they want a guy with a 42 BPM when he's sleeping, for sure.
That's right, baby. I wish I'd said that. Hold on, let's edit that out. Let's edit that out and let me say it. Yeah, okay.
I mean, they're gonna know, but okay, yeah, all right.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what they're gonna want? They're gonna want a guy with a 42 BPM when they sleep.
Yeah, man.
You're supposed to laugh.
Yeah, no,
as if it was the first time.
I found it more difficult to like laugh as if it was the first time there. But yeah, you're right.
Move on.
I think we'll move on from that one. But I guess that is a bother. That is a little bit of a bother. If you're under 5'8", let us know how you feel. If you're a tiny boy with a tiny pebble cock, let us know how you feel about that situation. So.
Hey, man. Sorry, I don't know what I was going to say there, man. I don't know what I was going to say there. Just looking at my notes. Anyway, let's move on.
Of course, this is What a Bother.
Yeah, half an hour in.
Yep, half an hour in. This is What a Bother. My name's Tam.
My name is Nick, 42 BPM.
Yeah, Nick, 42 BPM. And we like to talk about what bothers us, including being under 5'8". Obviously, none of us can relate, but we also like to talk about What bothers you guys? Also, that rhymed.
You spit bars.
I know, absolutely.
Yeah, you spit fucking bars, baby.
We've got a long one and a short one. So I think in the process of time, let's do the short one, shall we?
I've got a long one. You've got a short one. Sweet.
Okay, not what I said, man, but we'll crack on. I'll just pretend you didn't say that. Hey guys, my bother at the moment is people using loudspeaker when talking on the phone. I think it's a London thing that I've noticed it way more since working up there. People aren't as obnoxious in Kent. No one wants to hear your conversation, and it's made me think about how many times someone has had me on their loudspeaker without knowing. Loving the boys. Sorry. Loving the pod, boys, he said.
Oh, he's gay. That's fine.
I mean, it's fine. I'm not laughing at that.
No, it's fine.
Still seems like Tam is doing all the work. Thanks, man. Very accurate there. I am always doing all the work.
I know who this is.
We're even coming up with the lines for Nick.
I know who that is. If that's real, I know who that person is. Because he's a dork.
But what do we think about people using loudspeaker? I feel like, is loudspeaker much of a thing anymore ever since people have got the old pods, you know?
Does he have the problem with hearing people or being the fact that he's in the room and people are talking? Because that's awkward.
Yeah, no, I think
that really awkward.
Yeah, it's just I guess both. People just using loudspeaker like in public, basically.
Well, ever since AirPods, like that's maybe dropped. The rate of people speaking with loudspeakers, like that's just dropped off.
Definitely for me though, in terms of we're talking about what a bother, still no less obnoxious in my opinion. People talking, I almost find there's something more obnoxious about people on loudspeaker talking like on their AirPods. I don't know why. I haven't quite pinned my finger on why, but like there's something about if you're just in a room with someone that you don't know and they're like on AirPods talking to someone like, ha, yeah, well, we got to sell at 8. Make sure to sell the. I don't know, for some reason to me that's so obnoxious. Like, I think it probably just comes from a place of like you clearly don't respect kind of like the sound privacy of other people as well, where it's like I don't you're basically subjecting me to your conversation without my consent. Like I don't really want that. I don't know how to describe it, but
I know what you mean. I don't. Well, first of all, people just having conversations loudly around you. That's really annoying.
It's probably what
normally
it
like private school educated type of people that are like, Jono on the tube. How's it going, my fucking man? Like that stuff really bothers me. I think it does everyone.
Jack Whitehall, was it?
But it's like, what?
I said Jack Whitehall, was that you? Where are you? But it's fine.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Bless you. Yeah, and or just two people on the train just having a really loud conversation. Oh yeah, mate. Let me tell you, just so annoying. But I find it really awkward when. It's similar to this, like when you're in the car with someone and their phone rings like on Bluetooth and then they answer the phone and the person, they don't say, oh, by the way, Nick's in the car, which I get why they wouldn't, because it's...
You have to.
But you have to, but I get why you wouldn't, because it's almost like, by the way, Nick's here, but if I didn't say that, you'd say some weird shit. I understand it. Sometimes it isn't necessary, but if that person isn't aware that I'm in the car, I feel really awkward because I don't know what's coming. And it's just like, I kind of want to be like, hey, I'm here too. Hey, I'm here. Nick's here, by the way.
Last time I was in the car with you, that did happen, and I did hear some very questionable things when your girlfriend called you. That I probably shouldn't repeat on the podcast, but I don't know if you remember.
Was it about me in the sack?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Or was it?
It's a bit of a weird thing that she opened the conversation talking about how bad you were, but it was just like, obviously I won't go into detail. But
she knew you were in the car.
Oh, she knew. She wanted to embarrass you.
She knew.
But you get off to that, isn't it? You get off to the embarrassment. You like almost
I like being shamed.
verbal cuckolding, basically, where you like being shamed in front of other people, and that really like
all the time.
Yeah, I can see your jeans getting tight at the time for sure.
That's gross.
Gross. No, I think this kind of like is a different subject, but if you have a responsibility, if you are on loudspeaker for whatever reason, you just shouldn't be on loudspeaker in general, but I guess if it's in a car, like situation like that, to announce the other person like that is also listening on the conversation. If you don't do that, you're kind of a bad perks for sure.
You are. I genuinely think in California, if you don't announce that if I call you and you answer the phone, put it on loudspeaker, and you're in a room full of people that can hear the conversation, if you don't tell me that I'm on loudspeaker, I'm pretty sure in California that is illegal.
Really? Okay.
I'm pretty sure that is.
We've got a voice storming in, arresting you, policeman.
Yeah. I think it's to do with recording or like privacy or that sort of stuff. But yeah, to be fair to the dork who wrote in, to be fair to him, I think it is more of a London thing. I think it's a once again this big city mentality where you're loud and more obnoxious, less considerate. I think it just all ties into one thing.
Yeah, I think I agree, and I think it is a bother, and I think just don't do it. I think if you're one of those people and you're having, even if it's on your AirPods, if I can just hear your side of the conversation, that's almost even worse, because I'm just getting it's not even entertainment at that point, because I'm not getting the full story. I don't know what you're replying to. Just don't do it. Just save it for later. I know you're going to be like, but I'm so busy. But unfortunately your life is not more important than other people's a lot of the time. Yeah. And just save the conversation for later. You think you're so cool with your AirPods and you're so confident and you're talking and nobody's going to shut you up. It's just just shut up and just take the phone call when you get home. You don't need to be on loudspeaker. You don't need to be talking to people on the go like that, basically.
Amen, brother.
I hate it.
Amen.
I hate it. I don't want to
100%.
hear a word from your mouth unless I've consented to it, basically.
The thing is, if everyone abided by those rules, man, I feel it would be quite a depressing place to live. You know how in Africa, they're all, it's a very happy place. Like when people are walking down the road, they all say hello to each other, and it's much more positive. Whereas you go to London, man, dude. I was kind of making a joke there, but if you go into London and you do that and you go and you walk past people and you're like, hello.
Yeah.
None of it.
Knifed immediately.
In Kent, that's actually quite, I have to say, down here, people do that. They appreciate it. And especially in the morning, there's always a morning.
If you go to the country and you don't do it, you're rude, basically.
You're
basically a rude person.
Basically, I get it. In London, people are too busy, got their headphones in, heads down. Just don't have time for it.
You wouldn't get anything done if you had to say hello to everyone that you
saw. Do this. Yeah, there's so many people. Imagine going down Oxford Street. Hello. Oh my god,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that'd be a nightmare. But for sure, people are too miserable and take themselves a bit too seriously.
Yeah.
In London, love it though. Love London, but the people sometimes, bit of a pain.
A little bit of a
pain. Bit of a pain in the arse.
But thanks very much for that write-in. And if you guys want to write in at home or out of home, although you shouldn't be out of your home at the moment unless you're a key worker, please write in. The email will be on the screen now. You can also write in the YouTube comments if you don't want to remain anonymous. Obviously, if you do, then write in via email. And follow us on Instagram, and you can also DM us on there as well. DM us some sauciness. Slide into the DMs, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah. So that's that. Do you have anything to add?
Nicely done, bro.
Thanks, man.
Nicely rounded up, my G.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And look after each other. Take care. Sayonara.